don't worry about manifestation, just be. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people, when they try and manifest, and I was the same way, by the way, like when I started out trying to manifest things, I would do this exact same thing where I would decide on what it was I wanted to try and manifest, whether it's a bigger house, more money, more whatever, more something. And I would set the intention. I would say, right, this is what I want to manifest. And then what would happen is I would kind of constantly be checking back. I would constantly be looking, checking my bank account, checking, these different opportunities and things, like following up on things. Has it happened yet? And it was this complete energy of lack. It was this energy of, it hasn't happened yet. Why hasn't it happened? When is it going to happen? And, just constantly checking back to see stuff and worrying, stressing, and like freaking out basically about, I'm trying to manifest money or whatever, and it's not happened yet. And so the way it works with manifestation is when you do that, what you're really doing is you're saying to the universe, I don't have this thing yet. And so the universe will reflect that back to you. Your energy is lack, right? I don't have this thing, I don't have the money. Because you're stressing about it, you're worrying about when is it going to come. And so as a result, you don't get it. So what you really need to do is to actually focus on the being part of it. So you need to stop worrying about when the manifestation is going to come, how it's going to work, what it's going to look like, or even how it's going to show up in your life. And instead, you need to start being a different person. I talk about this a lot in my other videos. When you are being a different person, you're not worried so much about how or when or what the manifestation is going to look like. You just are that person. So the example I always use is, if you imagine a millionaire, someone who's been a millionaire for a long time, right, like 10, 30, 50 years, whatever. They're not worried about where the next money is going to come from. They're not constantly checking and saying like, oh, have I manifested this thing yet? Maybe now I can buy this house. They're not worried about that stuff because they're already that person. They are being that person. So the things they want, the money, the houses, the cars, it's very easy to them. It's very effortless, and you know what I'm trying to say. There's no friction. There's no stress or lack or worry. They just are that person. And I know what you're thinking, because I thought exactly the same thing. You're thinking, well, it's easy for them to not worry and easy for them to not stress because they already have it. But I don't have it yet, and I'm trying to manifest it. So, it's easier said than done, you might be thinking, right? And I get that. It is easier said than done. But that's what it requires. That's what it takes. That's how it works. So you need to, and this is why I try and in these videos teach you different ways of shifting your identity. You need to shift your identity one way or another to the mindset and the thoughts and beliefs and patterns and behaviors of somebody who has already manifested the thing you're trying to manifest. Yes, it's easier said than done, but that's how you do it. There's no real secret here. I guess you could say, the law of attraction, that is the secret, that is the method. But really, you're just shifting your identity. That's all you're doing. When a millionaire wakes up in the morning, they don't worry about which manifestation technique they're going to use. They don't constantly stress and tell themselves this story of, if I can just manifest this one thing, if I can just get $100,000, if I can just get $1 million, then everything will be okay. They're not thinking like that because they already have it. So, and I know it's kind of a paradox, because how can you think like that when you don't already have it? I get it. It's difficult. It doesn't feel, at first, it doesn't feel natural. That's I would say the biggest complaint. It doesn't feel natural that you would, be able to do it. But that's what you've got to do. You've just got to practice it. When you start practicing it, at first it won't feel natural, but eventually, if you do it for long enough, if you just keep kind of pretending in a way and practicing being that person and thinking like them, then the things they want will come to you, and it'll become very effortless.